Hello everyone and welcome back. The last video ended with the awakening of the behemoth. This means that the era of the festering skies has been reached, so this is an ideal point for a little retrospective. I'd like to give a short summary about the progress so far with some useful information about the game mechanics. First of all, with this DLC, the game, well at least in the beginning, became a constant rush. There are two checkpoints before the activation of the festering skies. One is the arrival of the behemoth egg, and the other is the mission called the Gift. These two gates defines roughly 25 days for us to prepare for a rather different playstyle as it was before. Previously there were a lot of haven attacks to deal with, which is now reduced and exchanged to a periodic behemoth rampage. I strongly suggest as a preparation to create at least 3 aircrafts before finishing the Gift mission. 2 should be equipped with a vehicle and 3 soldiers, while the third one can be used as a fighter jet only. This goal and the fact that the behemoth can appear anywhere on the globe narrows our options at the beginning. From exploration point of view, 3 things are crucial. First, explore the surrounding area of the primary base and protect every haven around it as fast as possible. Fast reaction means slower loss of souls. This game is not for perfectionists, as haven attacks may even happen without any notice, so if we are slow, it can happen that the other half of the planet is dead by the time we arrive there. Second, explore as far as possible to identify the limits of the actual operation area. Aircrafts have limited range, which can only be extended by touching a site on the ground or later with an item, but that won't help enough. This means that we won't be able to reach the other side of the globe, and it can happen that certain story missions become unreachable. These problems can be solved by activating additional bases in the proper order. Third, while exploring, focus on exploration sites with vehicles first, then resources. Vehicles have infinite storage space, which makes resource runs way easier than without it. Alright, let's see what we got during the first month. As we immediately start exploring the surroundings, we shall encounter the first 3 story missions, 1 for each factions. My advice is to skip these missions at first. The New Jericho one has a priest who can mind control our people, which is annoying, especially as their soldiers are also quite strong for our rookie team. The Synedrion one has a complete team of snipers and an infiltrator. Both can be quite challenging. The Anu mission, however, is quite easy, so feel free to finish that. Best start, I think, is to rush around and visit as many known tactical sites as possible. These are mostly joker sites with minor decisions that provides resources, research points or reputation as a reward. Keep in mind though that sometimes it's necessary to give away some resources, so never let your resource pool below roughly 100. I made such a mistake and lost some reputation. As we move forward, the first haven attack arrives, which takes us to the next topic, soldiers. Each of them has 3 major attributes: strength, willpower and speed. These are pretty straightforward, but let's go through them anyway. Strength will define hit points, the allowed weight to be carried, and throwing distance. 1 point will give 10 additional HP and 1 additional weight point. Willpower is the most important attribute at the beginning. It provides us the resource pool to use abilities and also affect mind-related effects like panic or mind control. Speed is, well, it's speed. It simply defines how far a soldier can move at a cost of 1 action point. Each unit has 4 action points, therefore 1/4 of the speed is the actual moving distance for 1 action point. Overall, I prefer to increase the willpower first, at least to a level 10, which provides quite good resistance against panic and mind control. The first and second haven attack did not really contain interesting situation. However, after these, the Gift mission arrived with a countdown as well. From this point, I had 15 days to finish it. My next stop was the first Pandoran structure, a nest. The nest is the smallest and easiest and usually the fastest enemy base. I prefer to clean these with vehicles, simply because it's way faster, but since this one appeared so early, I had to do it on foot.
What's our move?
Then I jumped into the first Phoenix Store mission, and after that I found the first vehicle site. I wasn't exactly lucky because I captured an Aspida. It's not necessarily a bad vehicle, but I prefer the other two during early stages of the game. Aspida is able to heal our units and can paralyze enemies. The most important drawback, however, is that it can only carry one person. By day 11 a Scarab had been available, so things could go a little faster as it provided me the upper hand in many missions. The Scarab is typically my choice for sites that takes place in an open area. It has the strongest weapon among vehicles due to the fact that explosive damage is ridiculously powerful. If it hits properly with both rockets, almost any kind of enemy would lose multiple body parts. This makes it an ideal weapon to disable even small group of enemies at once. Anyway, with the help of it I started my first scavenging site. Although the goal of these sites is to collect resource packs, I prefer to collect everything. To reach this goal, a vehicle is very useful due to three key factors: infinite storage space, defense for our soldiers, and high mobility. Also keep in mind that entering a vehicle does not require action point. Exiting, however, does 2 out of 4. Still, this provides an opportunity to exit the vehicle, perform an action and enter it again in a single turn. This is kind of a cheating in my eyes, but due to some stupid game mechanics it would be foolish not to use it. Now the time has come to solve initial faction missions. I started with the anal one. It's not a big deal, however, if someone is new to the game it can be frustrating because of the poison mechanics. Poison damage works in a way that at the beginning of the round the amount of accumulated poison would be added as damage and the remaining poison level decreases. Overall the concept is very good. My problem, however, is that it always damages at the beginning of the round. If a unit is unlucky and got 2 hits during last round, it can result in instant death on round start. This removes the ability to properly respond to a poison damage. It would be more fair if these kind of damages would be added after a full round relative to the damage timing. This mechanics is the same for every damage over time effect, like bleeding or acid. Although I don't like the way it works, I definitely see the reason behind it, because with my solution it would be way easy to counter these effects. So overall it is probably just a little balancing issue. Next stop was the Synedrion one. Then I ran for 2 additional resource rounds. After an Anu Haven attack I finished the New Jericho intro mission and then the next Synedrion one called Against the Mist. As I received the first Synedrion Haven invasion, we can check an interesting aspect of the game. If we got notified about a Haven attack, usually we can reach it with at least one of our teams and we should do it all the time. Even if a Haven would win without us, we should intervene. The later we join the fight, the more people we lose. Winning with our help means less lost lives. As we progress further, the overall population of Earth will slowly be lower. The limit where the game ends is based on the difficulty level, which is in my case 20%. However, after 17 days, in the game we already lost 6%. So try to save as many havens as possible. At the end I cleared one more nest and repelled a Forsaken attack against the New Jericho Haven. As a result, I received the next mission for Tobias, so I finished that as well. After one more Haven attack, I collected the living armor before finishing the gift mission. This armor is kind of a joker one, as every kind of soldier can use it, so it's quite useful. As a final run, 20 hours before deadline I started the gift mission. Once we start it, we can only leave it by reaching the Manticore at the end of the zone. It is possible to reach it with a jetpack, but it's quite risky. This is the first mission where we encounter our new friend, the cute little Myrmidon. On its own it's not a big deal, but if they attack in group, they can deliver high amount of damage. Best approach against them is to disable their body. Anyway, try to reach the Manticore as fast as possible and leave this place. Okay, one more topic here. Bases. My priorities in case of base activation is to create a bridge between continents and to have at least one already built research lab or a fabrication plant in them. This allows to reduce research time and to fasten up manufacturing speed. I activated Phoenix Avionics relatively early on day 3. I repaired every necessary rooms, including the energy generator, fabrication plant, and the access lift. The next base was selected from the other side of the globe. I chose Phoenix Storage 1 as it has a fabrication plant and a radar as well. I was hoping that with these 3 bases I would be able to travel to America before the second Behemoth attack. And now about reloads. My counter reached 4, so let's check what happened. Reload 1 was an extremely stupid error. I went out to a scavenging site with a fully equipped team without a vehicle. There were no chance to collect anything with that team. Reload 2 was also a scavenging site. I wanted to fasten up manufacturing a bit, so I acted against my rules and performed again without a vehicle. This time I simply made poor moves, and while this site would have probably been finished, it took too much time, so I simply reloaded to progress further. Reload 3 was also because of time. It happened during the Aspida capturing. Usually I don't like to fight my way to the vehicle, so I use a heavy to jump across the battlefield. But this time my heavy got mind-controlled by a mindfragger. As mindfraggers are not exactly a huge threat, I could have saved him, but it would take too much time. Reload 4 is the first real reload. During the first Synedrion mission, one of my sniper got killed. Actually, I could have continued with such an early death, but I don't really like to lose people. Anyway, this was a score, I gotta admit. And also a good example of the poor poison mechanics. That's all for the first debriefing. I add some numbers to the top and the timeline is now complete. Let's continue our journey against our little behemoth.